The doctors called it a miracle. I called it a nightmare. My wife, Sarah, had been in a coma for 6 months after a car accident. We were told to prepare for the worst. Then, one Tuesday morning, her eyes fluttered open. But when she spoke, it wasn't Sarah's voice. It was a thick, unmistakable French accent. We were American. Sarah had never even visited France. The doctors explained it as a rare neurological condition called foreign accent syndrome, a factual medical phenomenon where brain trauma can alter speech patterns. They said it was a temporary side effect of the damage. But something in her eyes, a flicker of coldness, told me otherwise. The lawyers showed up next. Sarah's estranged sister Eleanor, who hated my guts, suddenly appeared. She claimed Sarah had a prenuptial agreement that stated if Sarah ever became incapacitated, her assets would revert to Eleanor. The fact is, a prenup can have clauses for incapacitation, but mine didn't. This was all based on a forged document. Eleanor immediately filed for legal guardianship, claiming Sarah was too compromised to make decisions and that I was unfit to manage her estate. With Sarah speaking in a foreign accent and struggling to recognize basic things, it was easy for Eleanor to paint a picture of a wife who was mentally gone. Here's where the twist began to form. Sarah started behaving strangely. She stopped eating her favorite foods. She insisted on listening to French jazz music constantly. She kept calling me by the wrong name, then apologizing and saying her brain was still foggy. The informative part: con artists often create layers of plausible deniability. The French accent was her ultimate shield. If she made a mistake or forgot a detail, she could simply blame the brain damage. I started noticing small things. She'd accidentally use an American idiom, then quickly correct herself. Her French sometimes sounded a little too perfect, like it was learned from a textbook. I hired a private investigator. He looked into Eleanor and found nothing. She was just a greedy sister. But then he looked into Sarah. He uncovered a shocking, insane truth. 3 years before our marriage, Sarah had been involved in a hit-and-run accident in Paris. She fled the country, leaving behind a dead pedestrian and a mountain of legal trouble. She had legally changed her name and moved to America, desperate to escape her past. The car accident that put her in a coma? It wasn't an accident. The victim's family in France had finally tracked her down. They staged the crash, planning to kill her, but when she survived, they realized they could do something far worse. They kidnapped the real Sarah from the hospital, smuggled her back to France, and put her in a hidden asylum. Then they replaced her with a lookalike, a woman who spoke perfect French and had been surgically altered to look just like my wife. This imposter had been specifically trained to mimic Sarah's brain damage and the foreign accent syndrome. The goal? To collect the life insurance and assets, then disappear, leaving me with a wife who wasn't my wife, while the real Sarah rotted in a French asylum. When I found this out, I was looking at the woman next to me, the woman I thought was my wife. She just smiled. Not Sarah's smile, the other woman's smile. I realized that the hardest thing to kill is a lie when it's wearing the face of the person you love.